We welcome from the Chesterton Academy of St. George, the headmaster and vice president of the board, Matt Anderson, and board member, Jill Robert. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Bart.
Last time you were here, we were talking about getting the school started.
Yes.
And it started.
Yes, and it started. A lot has happened since
All
the
right.
last time I've been here. Yep. So we opened our doors on August 22nd with 7 students, and then a few weeks later we gained one more student, so we have 8 students now.
15% increase.
Yeah. When you have small numbers like that, right? Everyone makes a big difference. And the first semester has just been incredibly joyful. We've had a wonderful time with the students, have really started to dive into the curriculum, and they've put in some good work.
And with 8 students and 3 staff, it's quite a teacher-to-student ratio you have.
It is. We have some wonderful conversations in the classroom. With only 8 students, each student's voice kind of needs to be heard in order to have class discussions. And the students have really risen to the occasion, are really learning that Socratic seminar method of teaching.
Well, I bet there are viewers today that have never heard of the Chesterton Academy of St. George. What is it?
All right, so we are a brand new high school here in Jackson. We are a classical high school in the Catholic tradition. And so we're part of this growing movement across the country to offer classical education, which is teaching through kind of the great authors, the great thinkers of Western civilization.
And Chesterton is in honor of G.K. Chesterton.
Yes, the great early 20th century English author. Had a wonderful sense of humor, would constantly joke, and loved paradoxes in particular. And so we kind of try to bring in his sense of humor to the school as well.
Jill, why did you want to be part of this board?
Well, to be honest, I have a love for classical education ever since starting to homeschool my own girls. Kind of stumbled across it being an educator before being a homeschool mom. I knew a lot about education, but had never heard of classical. And being introduced to the homeschool world, learned more and more and attempted to do a little bit of that myself in the home. So I now have 3 graduated homeschoolers and have found time on my hand and a love of classical learning. So I'm very vocal about it as well. So word got around and they asked me to join them, and I just couldn't say no to the opportunity. I have 5th grandchild on the way, and they all live in the area, and would love an opportunity like this for them at the high school level.
So high school, 9th through 12?
Yep. Well, we actually have started this year with just 9th and 10th. So of our 8 students, 6 of them are freshmen, 2 of them are sophomores. And then our plan is over the next 2 years to expand 1 grade level each year until we have 9 through 12.
And where are you located?
We are located in Bethany House, the old Felician Sisters orphanage on the north side of town. And so we take up a wing there, the wing with the gym, which has just been a great blessing because we use that gym almost every day to play dodgeball or play soccer inside when it's cold outside. So yeah, we've been really blessed to be there.
Well, you brought along some photos, and I
Yes.
think we're going to be able to see every single student.
Yes,
at
you will
the
be.
Academy.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a photo. This was before Christmas break. This is our Latin teacher, Mr. Carter. And it was one of the first days it started snowing, and they just wanted to get outside. Here you see a photo of the classroom, and you see them in that kind of discussion shape. All of our classrooms are in this shape where the students sit down with the teacher kind of around this table. Here's our literature classroom. Again, Mr. Carter teaches Latin, he teaches literature, and in the background there is actually the shield of Achilles, a replica from the Iliad, which is great for the students to be able to see and hold as they discover that amazing tale. And this was actually in October. We had a competition among the students on St. Crispin's Day to recite the famous St. Crispin's Day speech from Henry V. And so the students got up and gave rousing renditions of the speech. and which includes the line, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. Yeah, and so that's one of our students, Cecilia, giving that speech. And then this is at another event of ours that was towards the end of the last semester, our Advent choir concert. All students at Chesterton Academy have to take choir. And so for many of them, that's a really new experience. They've never sung before. And it's a beautiful training for them to try new things, right? And to learn that confidence of, okay, even if I've never done something before, I can take it on.
Even if they can't sing.
Yeah, well, we believe you can kind of teach anybody to sing. And really, the students have risen to that occasion. They're learning Gregorian chant, they're learning how to sing in Latin, they're just starting to learn how to sing in parts now, and it's been amazing to see how far they've come in 3 months.
Jill, as a homeschool parent, are there things that you chose to teach as a homeschool mom that weren't available in a traditional high school and that also might be available at Chesterton?
Yes, definitely. We actually, one of our daughters, we drove to Lansing for a classical education experience with a homeschool group there. And another daughter, we drove to Ann Arbor twice a week to have that classical element because I was not classically educated. So it was new to me, and I did what I could, but I wanted them to have that experience of more experienced teachers and more knowledgeable people. So yes, had this wonderful high school been around back then, it would have been a huge blessing. We made it work, but.
In classical, that's a pretty wide-ranging adjective. So I think Aladdin.
Yes.
I think of, as you mentioned, some of the literature that would fit into that category, but is there an easier definition of?
I think the easiest definition to think of for classical is it is teaching in the way, especially that the Greeks and Romans taught. So for instance, in math, let's use a subject that we don't often think of with classical. We don't just teach a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We teach, okay, how did Pythagoras, the ancient Greek philosopher, actually come to that conclusion? How do you prove the Pythagorean theorem? And what that does is that teaches students to think logically.
So the students really can't hide when there's such a small population. But you've got challenges as well. Are there things that you want to do that you just don't have enough people for, like clubs and extracurricular sports, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a few girls this year who were very interested in a volleyball team in particular. And we have a few girls coming in next year that are also interested in a volleyball team. And so it was one of those where we kind of had to put that off for a year until we could field a volleyball team.
I see you've got your first event coming up, and it's a gala.
Yes, we're very excited for it.
Tell us about the Night to Remember gala.
Well, it's going to be held February 4th. It will be at Our Lady of Fatima Church. We're super excited to have Dr. Janet Smith come and speak, and her talk is going to be on the family as a path to holiness. So we are very blessed to have her. She's a former teacher at Detroit Seminary, so at Sacred Heart Seminary, so she'll be a wonderful addition to the evening. We're also going to have a strolling dinner to start out the evening. We wanted to do that to kind of reflect the philosophies of the school with building relationship, conversation. We didn't want everyone to come in, sit at their table with the people they came with and not get to mingle and have conversation, meet the board, meet teachers, meet people involved. So the strolling dinner will start the evening off, and then our speaker, then we will have a silent auction as well, and a live auction, and we will be having, at the end of the evening, dancing, primarily swing dancing, and we are going to be blessed to have our headmaster and his wife give a little bit of a swing dance lesson at the beginning of the dance portion of the evening, so that all of us that aren't as familiar with swing dancing can enjoy that. So Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. We've tried to get creative in sharing the culture of the school. So we're going to have tables set up in 4 different houses because they use the house system at the school. So we'll have a little competition between the tables and the houses like they do at school. So we're sharing some of that culture as well.
So if people are interested, they can get tickets right now and they purchase them through the school.
Yep, purchase them through the website, castgeorge.com, castgeorge.com. And actually, we're coming up on the deadline for ticket registration, which is this Sunday, January 15th.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a successful night, and thanks for coming in today.
Thanks so much for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Bart.
The headmaster and board VP, Matt Anderson, and board member Jill Robert from Chesterton Academy of St. George. Lots more to come on today's show. We have our Meet the JTV